everyone. So today our workout is a little different. It is still technically a workout, but I figured that we could work on some deep stretching. So if you have a job where you sit all day or you're feeling particularly tense, it's been really chilly recently, so maybe when you go to bed you're tightening yourself up. We are going to work on just loosening everything, stretching those muscles that maybe we don't get the opportunity to stretch and work all the time. All you will need is a soft surface. I am not working out in my basement today because it's freezing. So we are in a nice room with a plushy carpet. And if you would like, if you have yoga blocks or maybe a small pillow to help you with some of these moves, some of them are going to be very revealing with how tight some of your muscles are. Push yourself to an edge without straining or hurting or pulling yourself. Only go to your limit, but some of these are going to be a little bit of an intense stretch, so just be prepared for that, but only go as far as you are comfortable. We are here to feel better when we're done, to feel relaxed, to feel loose. I don't want you guys to feel tighter than when you started. So we are just going to start in a seated position, however you want to sit. I like the yoga sit. And we are just going to start by rolling our shoulders back and then very slowly just rolling our neck to the side, our head to one shoulder. I'm starting with my right ear to my right shoulder and then rolling forward very slowly until that left ear is to that left shoulder. You can close your eyes if you want. I'll walk you through all of this. You can maybe turn on some really nice peaceful music, something instrumental to get your mind off the day. And then roll back to the front, to the other side. And if you want here, you can kind of give yourself just a little bit of a neck massage if you need it. You can flex that opposite hand for an extra stretch. I know I personally carry a lot of my stress in my neck, so those of you like me may also need this. And roll that neck and head forward to the other side. If you want to give that other side a little bit of a massage, a little bit of self-love, do it now. And from here, we are just going to interlace our hands behind our back. I will turn so you can see me. Roll your shoulders back. You can clasp, you can interlace fingers, you can hold them together however you like. And then just bring them as far back as they can go without pinching or pulling. If you want to fold forward to give yourself more of a stretch, you can. Only go as far as your body will allow you to. We are supposed to feel good after this. We're not supposed to feel more tense. We should feel very loose and limber and long. And bring yourself back up if you folded forward. Otherwise, uninterlace your hands. We are going to stay sitting for a little bit. We're just going to do a sitting twist. So we are going to reach our arms up over our head and then twisting to the left, taking your right hand on your left knee, placing your left hand behind you and just doing a nice little twist, kind of looking over your left shoulder. I'm not looking for a big crazy twist. This is just a nice T-spine twist, a nice supine twist. A few more deep breaths here. Making sure we're nice and tall, we're not slouched. We want to have a proud chest. And onto the other side. Lift our arms up over the head. And we're going to drop our right hand behind us using our left hand on our right knee to kind of twist. And only go as far as you can. If you can't fully plant that back hand, if you need to tent your fingers, that's fine. If you can only twist this far, that is fine. You go as far as your body will let you. Taking nice deep breaths, breathing into that space. And one more deep breath. Beautiful. You can reach your arms up over the head, kind of just for a little anti-twist there. And after this, we are doing a wide leg fold. I do love this one if you carry a lot of tension in your hips. So we are going to start with our legs nice and wide as they can go. We're not doing a full split. If you can only go here, that's fine. Go as far as you can go without feeling any tightness or pinching in your hips. Sometimes I like to scoot my butt a little forward to see how much farther I can go. And then we are just gonna fold as far forward as our body will allow us. If you can do a full fold to the ground, that is fine. If you can only make it here, that's fine. I just want you to get that stretch in the hips and your inner thighs, so you can take your fingers and tent them and just walk them forward as far forward as you can go. Trying to keep your toes flexed this whole time. You can point them if you want more of a stretch in the top of your shins. If you want to play around with that, you can feel the different stretches in the parts of your legs that may need it. And take a nice few deep breaths here. Really breathe into this stretch. This one is a little revealing, but it feels really good, especially if you work at a job where you may sit all day or you don't have a lot of chance to move around. Every time you exhale, see if you can fold a little bit more forward without hurting yourself. Only go as far to your limit. Sometimes you can drop your forearms to the ground if you'd like, or you can keep them tented. And one more deep breath. All right, so from here, walk yourselves up, keep your legs nice and folded. We are just gonna add a twist. So just like before, reach your arms up over your head and then just twist to the side. We don't have to go as far back as we did before, using your right hand on your left knee. Just a nice little supine twist. Now that we're upright and our legs are open, it's a little bit more of a different stretch than before. And on your next inhale, reach up and over. And same on the other side, using your left hand on your right knee to give yourself a little twist. We're kind of like a 90 degree. You're looking to the side. I'm not looking for a full twist. You're not looking over your shoulder. Nice proud chest. And bring yourself back. We're gonna bring our feet together here. I'm gonna scooch back here, our toes nice and pointed. We're gonna do a pike fold. So only go as far as you can, like I keep saying. Reach your arms up over your head, and on your exhale, I want you to fold forward using your chest. Go as far as you can. If you can only go to your knees, your shins, your toes. If you're doing a full fold, that is up to you. Just make sure you're keeping your shoulders rolled back. I don't want to see you hunched forward like this. Kind of pull forward with your chest, then you'll feel it in that lower body here. Again, this one's pretty revealing, keeping our toes nice and flexed. Again, you can point them. That's more of a stretch in the top if you feel like that's what you need. And stay here for a few more breaths, just hang out. And about one more breath. Gently walk yourself back up to a nice seated position. And then we are going to kind of get up in here into a low lunge. So if this is where if you need a pillow under your knee for extra comfort or support, or you can use it in front of you if you need that. So we are going to get into a low lunge position. We're going to start with our right knee back, left knee forward, and using your hips almost like you have a belt and someone's pulling you forward. I want you to lean forward like this. You should really feel that stretch in that right hip flexor and that psoas. Making sure our knees are kind of right over our ankles. You don't want a big crazy angle forward of your toes. Nice straight lines. Squeeze in that back glute to get that stretch. Again, if you sit a lot for work, these hip openers feel really nice. And then from here, we are going to straighten this front leg back. So if you want to kind of rock yourself back, point your toes up towards the sky. If you want to get more of a stretch, you can kind of scooch your heel a little bit forward. And then you can tent your hands. You can put your hands fully on the ground if you want, but nothing crazy. If you need to bend your knee a little bit, that's fine. Kind of square off your hips, making sure you're not leaning too far to one side. And then you can kind of just let your head drop and relax here. Again, breathing into this stretch. These are pretty revealing. Our hamstrings don't get a lot of love. I know we stretch them a lot after some workouts, but sometimes they need more than that. And one more big breath. And from here, we're just gonna kind of go into like a rocking motion. So going back from where you were at before, get into your low lunge position. I want you to kind of rock forward and then go back, kind of lean forward and stretch. Back to the lunge, lean forward a little bit, scooch back and stretch. Take these nice and slow. This is just gonna kind of lubricate everything, especially after that nice long hold. These should feel really nice. And again, if you need to keep your knee bent when you do these, that's fine. Do these at your flexibility. All right, plant that left knee. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So planting our right foot in front of us, 90-degree angle. Pretend that you're pulling forward with a belt. Beautiful. Our knee is right above our ankle. We're not going too far forward like that. That's for the next part. Squeezing that left glute, really feeling that stretch all right here. You can do whatever you want with your hands. You can rest them on your knee. You can hold them on your hips. Whatever feels good for you. And we're gonna do the same thing as before. So kind of rock yourself back, and if you can, if you want it more of a stretch, scooch that foot a little bit more forward, tent those hands, and then just hold here. Kind of square off your hips. You might want to tend to twist yourself, make them nice and straight, and stay right here. Keeping your toes pointed, that'll really wake up that hamstring. You can let your head drop if you need to. You can keep it forward, whatever you like. And one more big breath. Awesome, and put that leg back into a 90-degree angle. We're gonna do that rock with that stretch like we did before. So rock just a little bit forward. That's where we have that tighter bend. And then just let yourself kind of slide, point up, and go. You can keep your hands on your hips. If you want to put your hands on the ground for extra stability, your hands on your knees, whatever you like. Nice and slow. I know this doesn't really feel like a workout, it's stretching, but when you really kind of push yourself to your edge and you have a stretch that's maybe a little bit revealing, that does get your heart rate up. So all right, plant that foot back. We are going to do a quad stretch on both sides, but we're going to stay on our knees. You can do these standing. I like these sitting because I feel like it kind of takes that instability out of it. So if this is where you need a pillow, you can. We are going to be on our knees, again, kind of like how we were before with the one foot in front of us, kneeling. I'm gonna start with my left, and if you can, kind of lean back a little bit, lift that foot off the ground, hold those toes, and then just pull it towards your butt. It does not have to touch your butt, just enough, and then squeeze that glute right when you hold that foot to really feel that stretch. Right in your quad there. You can put that opposite arm above you if you kind of also want a side body stretch. If you need to hold on to something, that's fine. This one is also very, very revealing. If you need to use both your hands to hold your foot, that's fine. And gently drop that foot. Don't let it just plop down. We're going to switch to the other side. So we are going to kneel and then put our left foot in front of us, kind of reach back a little bit, float that right foot off the ground, and using our right hand, bringing that right heel as close to our right glute as we can. And once we're there, squeeze your glutes to really get that stretch. This is a nice one. Quads are hard to stretch sometimes, so this feels really good. And this is nice. You're not worried about how many reps, how many weights, how much weight. You're just worried about breathing and stretching. One more deep breath here. Get your balance. And gently float that foot to the ground. From here, we are going to get into a downward dog position. So, with your toes tucked, hands in front of you, shoot your hips towards the sky into a nice downward dog position. If your heels cannot touch the ground, that's fine. But from here, we are just going to do a little pedal with our legs. So, kind of pushing that opposite foot to the ground while you lift the opposite toes. Really kind of pressing your chest more towards your hips. Not so much like this, but really kind of pressing back. That's when you're really going to get that stretch. And kind of getting that weight out of your shoulders and your wrists. Again, if your heels cannot touch the ground, that's fine. Everybody's at their own speed. And then just hold it here. Stop the pedal and then just hold this nice downward facing dog. One more big breath. Slowly drop your knees to the ground, nice and safe. We are going to go into a puppy pose. So, it's kind of like downward facing dog, but we're on the ground. So we are going to start with a child's pose position. So feet together, knees apart. You want to walk your hands forward as far as you can, kind of like you would a child's pose, but you're going to kind of keep walking your forearms while your back stretches, while your chest touches the ground. And then this should feel really nice. Only go as far as you can, but this is a really nice low back stretch. It's a shoulder stretch. Take a few deep breaths here. Should feel really nice opening those shoulders, that low back. One more big breath. And then you can kind of slowly rock yourself forward and walk your hands back safely to get out of the puppy pose position. Then we are going to go into a child's pose to a side stretch. We've done this a bunch of times. This one feels really good. So, in our child's pose position, feet together, knees apart. We are going to walk our hands forward, and then starting by walking our hands over to the right as far as they will go, and then shooting that left hip down a little farther to really get a stretch in that top body. You can rest your forehead to the ground. Taking nice, big, deep breaths, kind of feeling the oxygen all fill up that side. On your next inhale, walk your hands over to the left side, same thing. Go as far over as your right hand will allow. Shoot that right hip down and take big breaths here. One more breath. Walk your hands back to center for just a regular child's pose, just to kind of rebalance yourself out. Really press your hands down on the ground to really open up those shoulders. Beautiful. And from here, kind of get into a tabletop position. You can walk your hands back, and then we are going to go into a frog stretch. I love this one. I have you guys do it all the time. So if you can get yourself into kind of a low squat position, you want to make sure your toes are pointed just a little bit outwards. You can use your elbows to kind of open up your knees as much as you can. Praying hands, clasper hands, they can be down. I like to kind of pray them together to open them. And sit back into this stretch as far as you can. If you need comfort, if you need kind of a pillow under your butt or like a yoga block or something, that's fine. But we are just gonna hold here. I love this one. This is another very revealing stretch for your hips, but it feels so, so, so good. Only go as far as your body will let you. I know if you don't have a lot of ankle flexibility, sometimes this is a little tough, but just go as far as you can. Even if you're up here, that's fine. We are all at different paces in life. And take about one more big breath here. Beautiful. So kind of lean yourself forward. You can do a forward fold to get yourself out of it. And back down to kneeling. We are going to do almost kind of like a half split. So this one is a little bit more revealing. It's similar to what we did before with the lunge, but we're gonna stay kind of sitting low. So this is where if you need your pillow, I'm gonna use mine. It's based on everybody's limits with their flexibility. Place your pillow in front of you. And then with your one foot sitting down, I'm gonna start with my left. You are going to shoot that left foot forward. You are going to sit on that right foot first to get yourself set up. And then kind of using this, you're gonna slowly creep your one back foot back, or you can slide your foot forward, whatever is easier for you, until you get into this little mini half split position. Only go as far as you can, keeping these toes pointed. You can tent your fingers, hands flat on the ground, and hold this one. This is another really revealing one, but it feels so good back here. This one feels really, really nice. We're not gonna hold this one too long. I know this one's revealing. If you need to bend your front leg a little bit, please do it. And then bend that front leg, kind of sweep it behind you. Then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I'm putting my foot on the cushion first, and I kind of creep my back foot back, only because this pillow doesn't slide this well on that rug. So I'm gonna creep myself back as far as I can. My flexibility on my left side is a little better than my right for some reason, but we're gonna point this toe, go far back, and kind of bend just a little bit forward to get that stretch. And we're gonna hold this here for just a moment. Squaring our hips off, making sure you don't wanna lean out of it. One more big breath. And then swing that leg back. You can put that pillow out of sight, out of mind for now. We will do a butterfly stretch. I know a lot of this is for our lower body and our hips, but that is a part where that's really, really tight for a lot of us. So, butterfly stretch, you are going to put your feet together and then open your knees kind of like a book. I like to hold my feet together to make sure I get a nice tight stretch. The closer you bring your heels to your pelvis, the more of a stretch you're gonna get. The more you can bring your knees down to the ground, more of a stretch you're gonna get. If you need to keep your knees up here, your feet over here, whatever works for you. We're gonna sit here, roll our shoulders back nice and proud. And from here, I want you to fold forward as far as you can. Now when I keep my feet really close to my pelvis, I can't really fold that far forward. That is just my limit. If I bring my feet a little more forward, if you want more of a fold, you can do that. Sometimes it just feels really good to go to your limit. Taking nice deep breaths into the stretch here. And take about 2 more breaths. Inhale big. And exhale. 1 more of those. Inhale in. Hold it for just an extra second. And slowly exhale. You can walk your hands back up. We are going to go into another pike now that we have stretched a little bit more. Sometimes our flexibility is a little bit better when we do it a second time. So legs together, toes pointed towards the sky. Roll our shoulders back. We're going to inhale nice and big, reaching our arms above our heads. And exhaling, folding forward as far as we can go. You might notice you have a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more length this time. Those muscles are all woken up and stretched out now. We're going to hold this one for just a little bit longer than we did the first time. We're getting towards the end of our stretches, so really a good time to wind down. Thinking about what you have to do tomorrow can wait. Thinking about what you did today can wait. Right now we are just worrying about ourselves. And 1 more big breath. Take an inhale. Hold it for just a minute. And exhale it all out. Walking your hands back. So before we get to our very last stretch, we are going to do a wheel pose, a half wheel pose, I should say. Only take this if you feel comfortable and take it to your flexibility. So if you need a pillow behind you or something maybe like a chair, but how we're gonna start very gently is we're gonna get on our knees kind of hip width apart. I want you to start by putting your hands on your lower back, squeezing your butt cheeks, and then using your chin to guide you a little bit back. Bend just as far as you can go. And then if you can, and if it is in your practice and your comfort, you can drop your hands to your ankles or your heels. If they can reach the ground, that's great. And we are just gonna hold this half wheel pose. Sometimes this is also called camel, I believe. This one is very revealing. It's a very vulnerable pose when your chest and your belly is opened up like this. And then tucking your chin, very gently getting out of this if you bent. Tucking your chin, slowly bringing your hands back to your low back. And then you can bring yourself back down to a seat. We are just going to finish with another child's pose. So heels and feet together, knees apart, walking your hands as far down and just letting your forehead rest on the ground. And we're gonna hold this here for just a moment, taking nice big breaths, forgetting about everything from the day. Like your thoughts are clouds and they are just blowing away in the wind. Maybe reaching your fingers a little bit farther to get more of a back stretch. And on your next exhale, I want you to walk your hands back towards your knees. You can bring yourself back down to a seat. And we are done. I hope you guys are feeling nice and relaxed and stretched, and parts of your body that maybe don't get a lot of love got the love that they needed today. And I hope you feel really good. You can come back to this whenever you feel like you need it. If you had a long day, you have to unwind, you're not really in the mood for a full workout or yoga, or maybe you had a really tough workout and you really want to make sure you stretch everything, you can come back to this whenever you'd like. But otherwise, thank you for stretching with me, and I will see you guys next time. See ya!